Interior Carmen Cappuccino's hideout at night. Carmen, a ruthless and cunning mobster, paces back and forth drinking his cappuccino, his eyes blazing anger and revenge for his brother Bobby Double Espresso's murder by Sergio the Sniper. His loyal henchmen, Vinny Veins and Joey Jawbreaker, stand guard. Carmen says to Vinny and Joey, "We need to make a statement. Let's kidnap Gina, Giovanni's girlfriend. I want to get their attention. Nobody messes with my family. Gina, Giovanni's girlfriend, is the key to getting what we want: pure power." Vinny says, "Do you think this is a good idea? This can start a war with the other families." Carmen Cappuccino smirking, "Gina will give us the most leverage to become the next only godfather to control all the families. Gina, Giovanni's girlfriend, is the only choice to take my revenge." Joey nodding and then says, "I will take care of it, boss." Carmen, ice-cold expression on his face, says to Joey Jawbreaker and says, "Make it happen. And remember, make no mistakes, we want them to know we mean business." Interior Carmen Cappuccino's hideout still are gathered around a table, planning the kidnapping. Vinny says, "Boss, we need to be careful. The Don's got connections. He will stop at nothing to get Gina back." Carmen, sneering, says, "That is what I am counting on. We will demand a ransom and reveal WHO killed my brother Bobby Double Espresso." Joey says, "But what if they do not pay me? What if they try to cross our family?" Carmen, leaning in, says, "That is where the leverage comes in. We will make sure they know we are not playing any games. We will send them a little motivation." Vinny says, "I get it, the finger with Gina's engagement ring on it." Carmen says, "Exactly, Gina's engagement ring and her finger also. We mean big business." Joey, hesitant, says, "Boss, are you sure this is the right move? We are playing with fire here." Carmen stares at Joey and says, "You question my judgment, Joey? I am doing this, Bobby Double Espresso. My brother, for justice." Vinny backs up Carmen from Joey and says to Carmen, "Yeah, Joey and I got this, boss, we are a team." Carmen stands up straight and walks to the door and says to both of them, "Let's move out now, we have a kidnapping to do." All three of them walk out the door and shut the door and start walking down the street. Meanwhile, their phone continues to ring and ring and ring and then stops. Interior of Gina's home. She is getting ready for bed when she hears a knock at the door. She walks over to the door and opens the door and sees Joey and Vinny, dressed in suits and looking menacing. Gina says, "Can I help you?" Joey says, "We are here for a little chat." Vinny roughly says, "Shut up and come with us." Gina tries to resist, but they both overpower her and drag her out of apartment. Interior of Carmen Cappuccino's hideout. Carmen is pacing back and forth until Joey and Vinny arrive with Gina. Carmen says, "Ah, Gina, welcome to our gathering." Gina says, "You will pay for this, Carmen. My father will make sure of it." Carmen says, "Oh, I am shaking in my boots. Your father thinks he is above the law, but I will show him otherwise. I want revenge on the person that killed my brother Bobby." Exterior of the Don's mansion. The Don is furious when he receives the ransom demand and Gina's severed finger and Giovanni's engagement ring in an Italian box. Don says, "Find out WHO did this. I want them all dead." One of his bodyguards says, "We are working on it, boss." Don telling all of his henchmen, "I want Carmen Cappuccino's head on a platter. Now." Interior of Carmen Cappuccino's hideout. Carmen is enjoying a cigar when one of his henchmen bursts in. "Henchman, boss, the Don's men are closing in." Carmen says to them, "Time to move the merchandise." Joey and Vinny drag Gina away as Carmen prepares for a showdown with the Don's men. Carmen, Joey and Vinny moved Gina to a new location. Carmen is negotiating with the Don over the phone. Carmen talks, "Listen, Don, I want $100 million in cash, and I want it delivered by midnight." Don says, "You will pay for this, Carmen. You will rot in hell for this." Carmen says, "We will see about that." Exterior of the Don's mansion. The Don is gathering his men for a rescue mission. Don says to all of his henchmen, "I want Gina alive and I want Carmine's head on a platter in my dining room tonight, no mistakes." Interior of an abandoned warehouse. Gina tries to escape, but Joey and Vinny catch her. Gina says, "You will never get away with this." Joey says, "Shut up and sit down." Exterior abandoned warehouse. The Don's men arrive, and a shoot ensues. Carmen, Joey and Vinny are outnumbered, but they fight back fiercely. Gina tries to escape and runs fast down the hallway but slips and falls to the ground. The Don's men are closing in. Carmen is wounded, but he refuses to give up shooting and killing at least another dozen of the Don's henchmen, screaming, "This is for my brother," killing henchmen one by one fall to the ground, and, "That is for my brother Bobby." And another flock of henchmen drop to the floor full of blood covering their faces and bodies. Carmen runs out of bullets and screams to Joey and Vinny, "Let's go, the party is over." Carmen, Joey and Vinny jump inside the getaway car and take off down the street trying to escape, but they are pursued by more of Don's henchmen. Carmen says, "Loose them, they are catching up to us." Joey says, "Hold on, boss." Joey takes a sharp turn, and the car screeches through the streets. Gina is in the back seat hiding under the seat so she will not get shot with a spray of bullets hitting the car's doors and trunk. The car chase continues, with the Don's men closing in on Carmen and his bodyguards. Carmen screams out, "Take care of them." Vinny shoots at the pursuing cars, but they keep coming. One of the Don's henchmen pull out a big gun and shoot the back tire, and the vehicle swerves left and right and hits and runs into a pole. The Don's men surround Carmen, Joey and Vinny. Don's henchman says, "You are finished, Carmen, the game is over." Carmen screams and pulls out a machine gun and starts shooting at the henchmen, and they start dropping dead on the floor. Carmen, Joey and Vinny kill almost all of the Don's henchmen, and Gina picks up the phone she found on the floor and calls the police. All of a sudden 10 police cars surround Carmen, Vinny and Joey, and another shootout ensues between Joey and Vinny, and they run out of bullets and raise their hands, and the cops put handcuffs on them and put them in the back of the squad cars. Meanwhile, Carmen sneaks away wearing a police uniform he took from a cop car that was parked where the Don's henchmen lie dead on the street. Carmen arrives to the hospital to tend to his wounds and watches the television talk about the shootout at Main Street and Park Avenue. Carmen says to himself, "Thanks boys, I owe you one." He stares at the TV looking at the news and sees a cop car speed off on TV with Joey and Vinny in the back seat smiling at the cameras. Carmen stares down the hallway of the hospital and sees a nurses looking out the window and helping Gina with her wounds, and he smiles and says to himself, "It must be my lucky day." Meanwhile, inside the cop car is one man driving the cop call and says to Joey and Vinny, "That was not right what you did to my sister. I am not the Don or Giovanni, I am worse." Joey and Vinny try kicking and screaming and banging on the door. All of a sudden Elvano Escarole pulls out lighter fluid and pours it all over them in the back seat of the cop car, and pulls out a pair of scissors and a weed cutter and lays both of them on the front passenger chair and grabs the gun from his holster and shoots both Vinny and Joey 3 times in the head, and both of them lay unconscious. Elvano grabs the scissors and cuts the fingers off both men and throws the lighter in the back seat while walks out of the cop car. All of a sudden the car enflames and burns out of control, with Vinny and Joey's bodies burnt to a crisp. Elvano Escarole, Gina's brother, says to himself, "I have to find Gina, my sister, before it is too late." Meanwhile, Carmines walks over to the nurse and hits her while she is helping Gina's wounds, and the nurse falls to the ground in a pool of blood. Carmen says, "I want revenge for the killer of my brother Bobby. Tell me now." Carmen slaps Gina in the face and she falls to the floor. Carmen says, "I want my brother's killer, or I will torture you until you tell me everything." Gina says, "I will never tell you anything." Carmen says, "You pay for your defiance." Carmen picks up the object that killed the nurse and says, "Any last words before you see my brother in hell?" Gina looks up at Carmen Cappuccino and says, "I know who it was. Turn around, brother." Elvano Escarole bursts in and screams, "Let her go, Carmen, it's over." Carmen says, "You are the one that killed my brother," and runs toward Elvano and swings the object to kill Elvano. Elvano and Carmen are fighting hand to hand because Elvano knocked the weapon out of the hands of Carmen. Elvano screams, "You are not taking anyone else down with you, Carmen." Elvano beats up Carmen with punches to the face, kicks to the stomach, and Carmen falls to the ground in defeat. Elvano stands over Carmen, victorious. Elvano says, "It's over, you lost." Carmen says, "You will never win. Elvano. My men will find you. No place to hide or run." Elvano says, "I am not afraid of your men. And even if they do find me, I will be ready." Elvano says to Gina, "Are you okay?" Gina says, "Thank you, Elvano, you saved me." Elvano says, "You are safe now. I won't let anyone hurt you again." Cops handcuff Carmen and bring him to the police station. Elvano and Gina are giving statements to the police. Police officer Phillips says, "You have done it again. You have taken down another dangerous criminal off the streets." Elvano says, "Just doing my job." Elvano defeats Carmen Cappuccino and his men, and Gina is finally safe. As they walk away from the police station, Elvano turns to Gina and proposes a new partnership. Elvano says, "We make a good team. Gina, let's keep working together and take down more criminals like Carmen Cappuccino." Gina says, "I will like that, Elvano. Let's do it." The two of them walk off into the sunset, ready for their next adventure together.